Kill me.
I'm the martial arts film freak, and I watched The Prosecutor.
我覺得我哋呢份工作咧，就好似一盞殘顏嘅明燈，將有罪嗰啲人定罪，還無辜者清白。
明知道個犯身有事，但冇證據，我都要放人㗎，冇辦法㗎。
The Prosecutor is a 2024-2025 film depending on where you live in the world, and can be found in theaters on January 10th, select theaters of course. Or if you're seeing this in the future, it's probably on Hi-octane. The film stars Donnie Yen, Francis Ng, and Kent Chang, and was co-directed by Donnie Yen and Ho-pong Mak. The film follows Donnie Yen leaving his old life behind as a police officer and starting his new career in the courtroom as a prosecutor. Of course, that's what the movie's called. But at the same time, there is a young man who has been wrongly convicted of drug trafficking. Donnie Yen decides to seek justice for the young man to uncover the truth and figure out who is behind this scheme. But of course, this is a Donnie Yen film, so this is more than just a courtroom drama. There is, of course, some wonderful, delicious martial arts fight scenes. Donnie Yen style. I don't know why I said delicious. I feel like that was weird. From the beginning, The Prosecutor perfectly lays out its whole premise. You may be enthralled by incredible action scenes, beautiful shootouts, and epic fight scenes, but at the end of the day, the true justice comes in the courtroom. The film opens with Donnie Yen and his team going through this incredible shootout with some great fights laced throughout in between, and we get this beautiful first-person to third-person perspective as the camera goes back and forth from Donnie Yen's hand shooting people to seeing him kicking people into space. It's very great, very beautiful action scene. It's very brutal, very violent, something we haven't really seen from Donnie Yen in quite some time. And despite this scene being so awesome, and them of course getting their perp at the end of the day, the film immediately cuts to them in court as the guy wins his case and he's free to go. Donnie Yen deciding, well, clearly this isn't the place we're supposed to be, so I'm gonna go be a lawyer, make sure this guy stays in prison. So from there, I'm in. The film has completely grabbed me and I am enthralled. Sadly though, it kind of did not take very long for that grip to loosen up, as the film kind of began to bore me. I love seeing Kent Chang back, and seeing him and Donnie Yen interact was wonderful, but there's a lot of side characters in the law world that Donnie Yen has entered that aren't very interesting, that don't get much to do. Now, that's not to say that every character is a waste. There are a few characters that the film does a very good job of building empathy for them. There were a few characters that I really started to enjoy. And I will say, it's not really quite a spoiler, but some of those characters don't make it. And because we've built this empathy, we understand their backstory, it really actually hurts when they don't make it. I do enjoy some of the dialogue and some of the back and forths. Donnie Yen in particular is a lot of fun in this movie, both his acting and his martial arts, of course. But there is at one point where Donnie Yen gets frustrated with somebody and he tells them to go home and jerk off. And that's just not really a thing we've ever heard Donnie Yen say as far as I can remember. And just hearing Donnie Yen tell a guy to go jerk off, I'm not gonna lie, I laughed about it. But here is where this courtroom drama really started to bore me. It was the courtroom scenes. And that's a bummer, because this movie is one part courtroom drama and one part martial arts movie. That's not true. This movie is like 3 parts courtroom drama and 1 part martial arts movie. There's fight scenes. There's probably like 3, maybe 4 major fight scenes, but similar to something like Flashpoint, they really are spaced out, beginning, one in the middle, little tease here, and then one big one at the end. So there's not a lot of action to go through. So you're really demanding that the courtroom scenes be enthralling, be crazy, be just something you really have to focus on and has you in its grips. And sadly, the courtroom scenes just didn't. Not all of them. There's one. There's one towards the beginning where Donnie Yen is really starting to find his angle, where he's starting to see some sort of crack in the justice system here, where this young man has been wronged. There's that one scene where Donnie Yen is really lighting it up. And he's even getting other people in the room to be like, oh, you're right, something is wrong here. That is the one scene where I was like, oh, this is good. I'm in. And then every other scene, I'm like, I'm bored. I'm kind of out now. And it's not to say that I just don't want a courtroom drama. I want a full martial arts film. No, that's not the case whatsoever. I love a good courtroom drama. One of the best films of 2023, Jesus Christ, this movie was almost 2 years ago, pretty much. I guess just a little over 1 year. But what is it? Anatomy of a Fall. Anatomy of a Fall is probably 60% in the courtroom, and I loved it. Who doesn't love a great episode of Law & Order? Hell, one of my favorite shows of the past few years was Extraordinary Attorney Woo. How can you not love that show? Even some of the most memorable scenes in Daredevil was the courtroom stuff. Yes, it helps that it's comic books and stuff like that, but I should want to go watch Daredevil go give guys concussions. But no, sometimes I just want him to get back in the courtroom because that stuff was entertaining. Now, I know that this movie was based on a real case. In fact, I believe that the name of the victim in the movie is the real name of the victim in real life. I understand this is based on a real thing that happened. However, is it mean to say that despite this case being real, it just wasn't a very entertaining case? I don't know. This isn't something that I'm sure most people were probably watching on TV. This wasn't Casey Anthony. I don't know. This wasn't Jodi Arias or Johnny Depp and what's her name? I don't remember her name. Amber Heard. This wasn't the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. I don't know. Maybe this was something that back in the day, whenever this case was supposed to be, I can't remember. Maybe this was something that people in China were watching on TV and thought it was incredible to watch. But it's not in my lexicon here. It's weird that the major cases I named that people were just watching on TV were murders. But I mean, I guess even OJ was, that's a big one. Murder. Are there any major cases that didn't involve major acts of violence? But back to my point here, you can make a courtroom drama that is dark or twisted and dramatic, but not boring. And the courtroom scenes in this, which it is truly a majority of the movie, were just boring. Feels mean to say. We were all looking forward to this, right? I don't know if we were looking forward to the courtroom stuff. We saw the action scenes in the trailer. We got excited about that. But the courtroom stuff is a majority of this movie, and a majority of it does not work. I'm not asking for My Cousin Vinny, but this movie's got to do something to spice it up. But let's get out of the 3/4 of this movie and get into that 1/4 that is the action, the signature Donnie Yen mixed martial arts style that is perfection. Donnie Yen has truly, just over the past 20 years, truly perfected his style of action. Yes, his style could be some serious kung fu. His style can be, using the force but not using the force. The force is one, the force is with him. But truly, the Donnie Yen style, when you say a Donnie Yen fight scene, you don't just think of Wing Chun. You think of that signature Donnie Yen mixed martial arts flair. This action is very Donnie Yen. No one does it like him. Donnie Yen is going to throw the flashiest kicks. Donnie Yen is going to throw the wildest haymakers, and he is going to land the smoothest double leg takedowns. Yes, the double leg takedowns are gorgeous. Donnie Yen hits double leg takedowns like he's Frankie Edgar hitting it on Gray Maynard or George St. Pierre hitting a double leg on literally anybody. But this finale is exactly what I needed from this movie. A movie that has bored me through a vast majority of it, but has thrown out these little sprinkles, these delicious little sugary treats of martial arts action throughout, but just little small sprinkles and little patches, just like a sprinkle here and a sprinkle here, a couple sprinkles here, but then oh my God, a giant sprinkle at the end. Where'd that giant sprinkle come from? And this finale might be the darkest finale I've ever seen from Donnie Yen. And I say dark, I mean brutal, I mean violent, I mean bloody, I mean probably darker than anything I've seen, like a City of Darkness, a Flashpoint, Legend of the Wolf, anything like that. I don't think I've ever seen Donnie Yen truly go this brutal. But before that, from the very jump of this final fight, it's fun, it's flashy. He's using the environment like I've never seen Donnie Yen use before. He's using it in his own way. He's not doing like a Jackie Chan kind of thing. He's not using the environment and making everything a weapon. No, he's using every obstacle as a new way, a new excuse to kick somebody in the head as hard as he possibly can. He's moving around in a way I've honestly never seen Donnie Yen ever do in a movie before. His use of the environment in that final fight is truly unique to a Donnie Yen movie as far as I can remember. But then comes the major big baddie of the final fight, and that is where Donnie Yen gets truly sadistic. He hits some really, really brutal shit. I hate that I'm going to say this because I know I'm going to have to go through this whole thing and censor bits of it because, you know, that it's a nice thing to do, and it just gives me more work to do, so I hate it, but I have to because it's all I can think of. If you ever watch AEW or any other wrestling that's not WWE, I love WWE, but they don't really do this very much. Whenever someone does something specific, like the Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland matches, where they do some really disgusting violence, and the whole crowd starts chanting, "You sick, you sick, you sick," or like, what is it? Zack Sabre Jr. just breaking people's fingers. That's what I mean. Some of you who watch wrestling are hearing me say this, and you're like, I fully understand what you mean. This movie must be pretty brutal. And the rest of you are like, what is this guy talking about? And to you people, I say, do you want to come over and watch wrestling? Because people don't people don't come over and watch wrestling. And if you would like to come over and watch wrestling, I will buy the chips. You want to just bring the drinks. You can come over. I'll pick you up. Do you want to watch wrestling? But no, this fight scene is so brutal, so disgusting. It's not gross. It's not like what is it? It's not Farang. It's not Mayhem, the French film from last year. Disgusting and brutal, but it's gory. And you see some stuff and you're like, that I'm in pain. That hurts. I was finishing this movie on my iPad. On my lunch break at work, I had to do that. I was sort of forced into a corner to do so to get this review up in time that I'd like to get it up and done with. And so I'm sitting at the break table in my break room, watching this final fight scene, and just sitting there going, oh God, oh, ooh, ow. And people are just walking by like, what the fuck is that guy watching? It was beautiful in all of the ways that brutality and violence can be. And it was the perfect ending to this film, and definitely the highlight. But can that fight scene bring a mostly boring film back from a low score? Well, despite being mostly bored by this movie, I did enjoy the dialogue. I did enjoy that some of the characters were very empathetic, and the movie did a good job with its storytelling in growing that empathy for those characters. I did enjoy, of course, the brutality and the fight scenes. Donnie Yen is always very charismatic and fun to watch, and some of those early court scenes are very good. It's just those latter ones where the film really starts to drag. Overall, though, I did have a fun time. I did enjoy myself, and I am going to give Donnie Yen's The Prosecutor 3.25 out of 5. 3.25 Donnie Yen's in a white wig out of 5. Tell me what you thought of The Prosecutor if you have seen it. Are you going to head out this Friday if it is playing in one of your theaters? As again, I said, it is coming out January 10th from WellGo USA to select theaters. So, check your local listings and check it out. If not, wait a few months, rent it on streaming, or wait a little bit longer than that, and it'll definitely be on Hi-Ya or one of the streaming services, but most likely Hi-Ya. Tell me what you thought of The Prosecutor and my review of The Prosecutor in the comment section down below. Tell me your favorite Donnie Yen scene in the last 5 years, because it's probably going to be Raging Fire, but it might be Sakura. Donnie Yen's been on a roll. I really liked Sakura. Tell me those things in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Head over to Facebook, where there's the Martial Arts Film Freak Facebook page. Instagram, Martial Arts Film Freak. Tristan_Glover, not on the Twitter. I'm not there anymore. I am MA Freak on Blue Sky, that's right. And Martial Arts Film Freak on the TikTok for probably the next few weeks. We'll see what happens with that. Thanks, government. Do all those things. Click on the links below. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.